Hi everyone, welcome to Back Chat. Welcome to Yogaberry, your yoga for scoliosis community. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's June, it's Scoliosis Awareness Month, and there are so many fabulous things coming up, which I can't wait to share with you very, very soon. And today we've actually got a little bit of a different back chat, which I'm going to tell you about in a moment. But just before I get into that, I just wanted to let you know that I am planning or I am teaching a in-person yoga for scoliosis workshop in Surrey in July, on the 17th of July. And it's kind of a full day workshop. So we'll go all through all the principles. Um, Understanding your curvature, obviously, there's a group, it will be limited to 12 people. So that's quite a nice size group. So we can learn about each other's curves. It's always easier when you can see it on someone else. Obviously, lots and lots of practice as well. So it doesn't matter if you're completely new to this or if you've been practicing yoga for scoliosis for a while. Do come along, make the most of this. This is going to be the only in-person yoga for scoliosis event that I'm doing this year. So if you are kind of in the London, Surrey area, make sure you get in touch and you book yourself in. Again, the spaces are limited. People have already started to book. So it would be lovely to see you in this workshop. But let's get to our topic today. So this week, as promised, it's a little bit different. It's actually, I have been interviewed rather than me interviewing someone else, and in a really, really fun way. So the lovely Emily Hale from Breathe and Build Scoliosis is doing a great series over on her YouTube channel, interviewing lots of different people about their experience with scoliosis. So do make sure you check out the other interviews as well. But she had a great idea to do this as not a back chat, but a mat chat. So basically, we've been practicing, we've been doing a Pilates session. She's actually been teaching me some Pilates, and we've been chatting alongside. So really, really fun way. Obviously, if you are listening to this on the podcast app, then you'll get something out of it because we will be talking about scoliosis. But if you are watching this, or if you maybe want to go back to it afterwards and watch it live and maybe follow along the exercises as well, then that's a really, really good way of getting in half an hour worth of Pilates practice. So without further ado, here it is, my mat chat with Emily. Enjoy.
Hello, I've come with Christine today, who runs Jaureguiberry Scoliosis, and we're going to be running through a basics Pilates session and just taking the time to hear a little bit about your story and learn a bit about how yoga has helped. So that's the plan.
Thank you.
Yes. Amazing. So we are going to start standing up. So if you want to hop up, we're just running through super basic stuff. So I'm hoping you can all join in from home whilst we're doing this. So if we just have feet hip width apart, we're going to take arms down by your side, little V, and we're just going to open up your palms, take a nice big breath in, and relax. Good, so we can just do a few of these to warm through. Nice. So Christine, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, so I'm a yoga teacher and I've been practicing for quite a long time, for about 20 years, but then about 10 years ago I made the decision to become a teacher. And yeah, it's kind of my own journey with back pain and with scoliosis that kind of took me into this direction.
Yeah.
And then very quickly specialized in this little niche of ours of working with people with scoliosis. So yeah, I've been enjoying that very much.
Oh good. Come into your heel raises for me. So we're just going to lift up heels from the floor. You can carry on with your feet, arms if you wish. There we go. We're going to push you over, knock you out on the first
Going to
step.
challenge me. So talking and moving at the same time.
Do some cognitive balance challenges. Yes. So what is the story with your scoliosis? I know you said you've got a mild curve. What does it look like?
Yes. So I've got kind of a mild to moderate, 25 degrees lumbar scoliosis. So big enough to make an impression on an X-ray if you look at it. Big enough to have caused me quite a bit of pain when I was a teenager, especially. And you know, it was always this type of thing. Whenever I had back pain and I went to the to any doctors, they would look at me and they were like, "Oh yes, no wonder you've got back pain, because everything is just a little bit wonky." So yeah, that's kind of where it was. It hasn't really, touch wood.
There's nothing to touch.
Nothing to touch my head. It hasn't progressed. So that's the good thing. So I've known about it since I was a child, probably 5-6 years old. So quite early actually, for idiopathic scoliosis. And so since I was kind of in my 20s, I've been working with it. I've been very consciously, you know, trying to manage it. Yeah. And it hasn't progressed, so that's
so good. News. Let's do head, ear over to your shoulder, and you can flex the opposite wrist if you want. Just give an extra little stretch, and then we can switch to the other side. Oh, I love these. So has it always been 25 degrees since you were that little?
I don't know, so they didn't really measure it, so this is kind of back in the 80s.
Okay.
And not that they didn't know how to, but I don't know if they ever kind of, they just didn't. Yeah. And what they did do, however, is they gave me a heel lift for my shoes. So rather than a brace, they were like, well, if we kind of balance out the hips,
we'll sort out above.
That might sort it out.
Did it?
It didn't, no. And when I was in my 20s, I did then decide to take it out. Right. Because I had to literally, any shoe, I had to.
You can't wear nice heels.
You can't wear any heels, exactly. So it was a little bit.
Yeah.
It was very annoying, and I didn't feel like it solved anything at all.
Yeah. It's just a frustration.
It was very, very frustrating. Yes.
So in terms of pain, have you ever had that alongside the curve?
Yes, so especially when I was studying for my A-levels, I did have quite a lot of pain, and kind of this, I'm sure anyone with scoliosis can empathize with this. It's this gripping tightness, very one-sided, so kind of around the convex side of my curve especially.
Which side is that for you?
The left side. It's the left side for me, yeah.
We're going to take one foot out in front. Here's a wobble challenge for you. See if you can tuck your pelvis under, and then we'll see if we can just come forwards into a lunge. Yeah, good. Hands wherever you feel fit. And we'll move in and out of that position. This leg I can do, it's my other one I get wobbly on.
Yes, there's always one, isn't it?
Yes. So that kind of scrunchy pain, was that something you ever had help with, or something you've had to work out for yourself how to manage?
So I think when I kind of started to investigate, probably when I was like 16, maybe around that time, I did go to lots of different, well, you know, you get sent from one person to the other, basically. I was growing up in Germany, so you kind of go to the various specialists straight away. You don't necessarily go to your GP and then get referred. But I did try lots of different physio, you know, chiropractors, acupuncture.
I hear that all the time. Everyone's like, I've tried everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I literally did try everything, I think. And everyone always was helpful and had some good opinions. I had, you know, the TENS machine and you know, those electro, whatever they're called.
Did that help?
Again, it's temporary, right?
Yeah, it doesn't fix the underlying problem.
No, absolutely.
Switch those over for me.
And I also kind of felt a little bit not dismissed, because they all kind of suggested something, but kind of like nobody quite understood.
Right, I see.
What was going on.
That's so hard as well, especially at that young age. Like, what age were you doing all of this, going around?
Yeah, probably like between 18 and 22 was probably the biggest period of time. And then when I then came to London in my early 20s, I was like, okay, London is expensive. I can't afford going to all those specialists all the time.
Yeah.
And my mum was the one who was always like, you need to do exercise.
Yes. We love your mum.
Yes,
Good role model.
absolutely. But you know, as a teenager, you're like, well, I'm gonna do anything, whatever it is, but not what my mum says.
Yes, fair enough. Do we listen to her now?
Well, I had to find my own way. I think
Yeah.
I had to find my own way, and my exercise as well. So I kind of just fell in love with yoga because it made me just feel physically better, but also, you know, mentally, emotionally. It had such a kind of deep impact, and when I really understood that it's not just the spine, it's, you know, there's other
everything
things.
else. Yeah, I get you.
Absolutely.
Come into some nice big circles for me. These will make you feel good. Nice big stretch. Oh, good. No, that's amazing, and it's so empowering to find something that does work for you, isn't it?
Yes, and I think the best advice I ever got was from a yoga teacher, and I did not like it at the time. And she said, you've got to. I asked her, what should I do for my scoliosis?
Yeah.
You know, have you got any solutions? Like, you know, just like I did before. And she said, you've got to take responsibility.
No,
for your back and for your spine. And I was like,
you don't want
I
to hear
don't
that.
know if I like that.
Yeah, it's so true though, isn't it?
It was very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing I see. I think where you are passed around from doctor to doctor, you feel like you're waiting for the person who'll fix it.
Yes.
Doesn't work that way.
No, absolutely. And I think we're always trying to look at the outside, and but really we do know more than we give ourselves credit for.
That's true. We know our bodies.
Yes. And again, I think with just dealing with it and doing the exercises and body awareness increasing, you know, just the little things, knowing, you know, this feels different on one side.
Connecting with yourself, isn't it?
Than it does on the other side.
Yeah.
And not like, oh, I need to change it, but just like being curious.
Just being aware. Yeah, definitely. We're going to do a little bit of strengthening for your upper back. So we're going to bring elbows in, palms out like a little waiter, and then we're going to open up and squeeze your shoulders.
Good.
Well done, please. I'm really well done. Good.
Especially when you're sitting at the desk.
Oh yes. Forget how lucky we are to teach for a living, and we can get up and move. But yeah, these are goodies.
Exactly.
Good. So moving from that kind of time where you were learning about yourself and this yoga teacher's saying, oh, you need to sort it out for yourself, and you're like, what? How's that translated to where you are now? How's that journey been?
Yeah, so I got into yoga very, very much, and like did quite strong yoga classes. Sweaty ones, fast ones, you know, like the kind of power yoga, vinyasa yoga. And then I did come to a point after like 2 years where I was like, I feel like I felt overall much better, but I felt really imbalanced. I felt like, oh, I've got one strong side, and that's just getting stronger. Yeah. And the other side is not participating. It's like it's asleep. Yeah. So that's when I then kind of looked into more people that understood scoliosis and yoga for scoliosis teachers. Yeah. Who could maybe help and guide me in that direction. So I did learn from quite a few good people like Louise Browning-Miller, who's a yoga for scoliosis teacher, and then, you know, kind of went from there in this discovery journey, and you know, started with my YouTube channel and all of that. So
and has it helped you?
The YouTube channel?
I mean your back. We'll bring your hands down, and we're going to rotate your palms.
And it's never finished, right? It's like
it's constant learning.
Yes, it's constant learning.
But is your pain a lot more managed now?
Yes, absolutely. And I have, it's like a toolbox, really. It's like I know what to do when it comes up. And pain is such an interesting topic.
Oh yes,
you're going to have
favourite.
more on that, I'm sure. But I do very much think there's so many different reasons of why we could experience pain. And this in itself is interesting because so many people will say your scoliosis doesn't cause pain.
Yes. What do you think about that?
I disagree. And even though maybe it's not the spine or the curve itself, you know, the tissues around it, the muscles, they will still be in balance. They can be tight and gripping, absolutely overstretched. Just this feeling of being imbalanced, and you know, fear is another.
Fear and stress.
Fear of the future. You know, you don't know, is it going to get worse, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you talk to, you know, the surgeons who will say, oh, you know,
we don't know.
Well, we don't know, or it's going to progress by 1 degree every year. That's a statistic, right?
Yeah.
And we can't do anything for you now. Just come back when you need surgery.
Have they said that to you?
Yeah, that's kind of what they say. I hear this so many times from clients as well. It's like, well, you just have to get on with it. But, you know, if you need surgery, just come back and we'll sort it out. I'm like, well, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that something you think that you'll end up having to think about?
I hope not. No, I don't.
Yeah, I hope not. It wasn't
Yes.
We're trying not to let you go through with that. We're going to come over onto your back, actually. So, come and bring yourself all the way down. Hoping we can still hear what we're doing. So, we're going to start just by cooling down your shoulders. So, we'll bring arms up to the ceiling and just gently bring your thumbs over your head towards the floor. Hopefully, don't hit the stone. That's good. And all the way up. Well done. Nice, so we'll just go from here. That's so interesting because obviously for me, I had my surgery and then it was done. And I feel like it's so much worse to live with that uncertainty over your head for years and years. Like, is that something you worry about?
Well, surgery specifically, I think for me, no, I don't. Okay. I don't think so. I have enough knowledge now, and I think I have the confidence in my body.
Yeah.
Well, nobody can predict the future, obviously. We can't. But it's not something I personally worry about. But I do see a lot of clients who are worried about this and who have even been told. You know, I had a one-to-one client the other day, and she said. She went to see a doctor and he said, wow, you've got a really bad back. It's really terrible. It's awful.
Oh, no.
And
why would you say that?
And at your age, you know, surgery is very risky.
Yeah.
Goodbye, good luck, basically.
Stop it, they just do
so that's, you know, there's nothing we can do for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, no, that's not what you want to hear, is it?
No, absolutely.
Oh dear. Let's give our shoulders a break. We're going to move on to a little bit of pelvic tilting. So we're going to just gently tip your pelvis backwards, so lower back coming towards the mat. And then we'll release back to where it wants to sit naturally, and then push all the way forwards. So really important not to force anything, but see how you go. You'll be more bendy than me.
Yeah, that's this one.
Good. So that kind of future for you, it feels like you're just really in control of your body, you know yourself really well. Is there anything you're doing with your own training to prepare yourself for just normal changes as we get older?
Preparing myself, well, we did, I mean, pregnancy, so I've got 2 children.
Yeah.
So I think, you kind of, you go through these phases in life, right? You've got your 20s when you're really active and you enjoy all these movements, and then and that's what I realized, how much kind of my practice has changed over the years, and how I really kind of benefit from knowing what I need at a specific time. So definitely like pregnancy was one time where I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to make sure that I'm strong before I go through this. And I think menopause, so now approaching menopause, is equally another time where, you know, there's a lot of changes to, you know, we talk about bone density obviously as well, degeneration. These are all kind of risk factors and just part of life, really. It's definitely preparing for making sure that I'm now as strong and mobile as I can be. To make sure that I can move well when I'm 50, 60, 70, 100.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Be one of those skydiving grannies. That would be fantastic.
Exactly.
Just bring your pelvis back to neutral for me. We're going to do a little bit of abdominal work. So we'll just want to think about almost zipping up from your pubic bone up to your belly button, getting that lower abs working. We're going to lift one leg, flex the foot. We're going to aim it towards the middle of the wall in front. Good. Come back in. Come back in. We'll switch to the other side. Well done. Oh dear. Good. That's definitely something that I worry about. So I'm mid-20s. I'd love to have babies at some point. I get very broody at the moment.
I'm sure you will be a great mum.
But it's definitely a worry, and I think a lot of people do worry about how to care for our backs at that time. So what kind of things did you do?
I think like educating yourself and just knowing. What I wouldn't recommend is starting something completely new when you're pregnant.
Okay.
So I because there are already so many things changing for you in your body. So I would definitely try to be as strong, as I said, as you can before you're getting pregnant. And just kind of knowing my curvature, knowing kind of all those little differences. Where am I in my curve pattern, right? So we're always, there's a way of kind of collapsing into it. And I'm sure this is less probably with the spinal fusion, because the fusion keeps you in check.
To a point.
A point, yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I think that's something where people can be quite passive about it, and you don't perhaps think of the changes you're making from the inside out to keep yourself supported and strong. So it's amazing to have that knowledge for yourselves. I think that's something that we're quite keen, isn't it, in our teaching to share, so that people are more aware of themselves and know and understand how to be strong in a safe way. Yes,
absolutely. And then it's not just being strong. So this is the discovery after having children. You need to relax, right?
Right. Okay.
It's maybe not so big of a feature in your 20s.
Is being a mum stressful?
Just a little bit.
Last one on each leg for me.
So I'm always joking about this one. Not joking, it's actually the truth. When if I can only do one yoga pose a day, it will be Shavasana, so it will be relaxation.
Which one's Shavasana, where we get to lie down and just
lie down?
Oh.
20 minutes.
Relax. 20 minutes? I need to start doing this. This is amazing. Right, for our next one, I'm sorry this isn't quite as relaxing. We're going to have to coordinate here. Okay. So we're looking at pelvic stability side to side. Right. So I'm going to challenge you. So we're coming again with one leg lifted off the floor.
Okay.
And then it's going to drift out to the side. But don't want you to let your little hip bones move. And then come back in. So you can hold them if you need. Good. This is where you're going to show me how bendy you are. Well done. Come all the way over and back. I'm going to get a click in my hip in a minute. Well done. And we'll just keep going side to side. Nice.
This is always, when I teach things like this, I think anyone with a fusion always has a slight advantage.
Hey now! I'm working very hard.
I know, but all of us who don't have a fusion, we could wobble all over the place, right?
Fair. Mind you, if I wobble, look, everything goes. I'll break my nose.
It will be more obvious. Yes, absolutely. But we can cheat definitely without a fusion. You can't.
You're cheating. Look, you're doing good. Oh dear. So who do you tend to teach now? Is it people who are living with curvy spines their whole lives? Is it people who are developing it later on?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixture. So most people that I work with are kind of in their 40s, 50s, 60s, I would say, is kind of the majority of people. Some of them had, you know, scoliosis all their lives. They've been wearing a brace, and then never had any problems until they hit kind of menopause.
Yeah.
And then other people are completely newly diagnosed. They didn't know, nobody ever talked about scoliosis, and then they go and see any specialist, and they say, oh, by the way, you've got scoliosis, right?
And you think, what? Never heard of this before.
What? Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, it's a little bit of a mixture, and then people with fusions as well. Kind of your type of fusion, or the decompression fusion in the lumbar spine.
A little baby fusion.
Yes, baby fusion, but quite
still impactful.
They can be very, very painful in that area. So.
Yeah, and they tend to do that operation because of pain, don't they? So
they do, yes,
all
absolutely.
fun. Oh dear, things we go through. Eh? What's your favourite type of person to teach?
I definitely prefer working with adults than teenagers. It depends on the teenagers.
Because they listen to what you're saying.
They do, and also because they are there because they want to be there.
Yeah.
Very often with kids, it's the mum who's like, you know, same as my mum, right? Who will be like,
what's best,
you need to do exercise, you need to do this, but really it works best if the person is
you have to want to learn for yourself,
invested themselves.
Mate, this next one, our last one. Beautiful. Right, feet coming down. We are going to tuck your pelvis backwards, so lower back coming towards the floor. And then we'll do this slightly differently, but we're going to come up into a bridge. So you can peel up. I'm going to just thrust hand return. Good. And let that pelvic tilt go. Nice. Just lifting up and lowering. Well done. Okay. So do you think if you could go back to your 18-year-old self, you just shake yourself and say, sort it out?
Yeah, I feel like I was in a way quite proactive.
Yeah.
Just because I did kind of look for help, but I wish I had more, you know, like nowadays, like the things that you and me do with like raising awareness and and providing support. There wasn't any of this at that point.
Yeah.
So I do think it's very important, and sometimes you do get kind of dismissed a little bit as a exercise or movement professional, but really, you know, it's such an important part, or should be an important part of people's lives. So it's great to be able to offer that support to other people, absolutely. But I wish I had more resources, I think.
Yeah, I think I was the same. When I had my surgery, I was very active anyway, just because I was a teenager. And it was when I had my desk job, I didn't really understand why my back pain got worse. And obviously now I'm like, I sat down all day. But I remember around my art, the resources were starting to creep in, but they were like weird forums, and it was obviously like any review site, the only people who say something are the people who've had a really awful experience.
Yes.
Like, my leg fell off after surgery, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is awful. So that wasn't the best. So it's nice to see like proper informed resources coming out.
Yeah, you do have to be a little bit careful. Yes. Where you get
critical thinking.
Where you get your information from, and it's easy to kind of get sucked into this kind of spiral of negativity as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Finish this last one then, and we'll just squeeze your knees into your chest, take a nice big cuddle. There we go, squeeze. And my favourite stretch, this might rival Shavasana, is we're going to stretch your legs out to the end of the mat. Stretch your hands out over your head, and then we're going to pull and stretch, and let it go. I love that one. Well done. Right, come up carefully. We can roll to our side and come all the way up. How are you feeling after that?
Lovely.
My hair's going to be everywhere.
Thank you.
Good.
That's great.
Yeah, it's nice, and it's just so interesting to learn about your story and actually living with a curly spine longer term, and I think it's so interesting the similarities we have with a fusion or not, in terms of looking after yourself, but also I think there's a lot of different challenges on there. So
yes, and it's not always visible, right? I had another client this week, and she was like, oh, it's so nice to talk to someone who understands, right? And she was close to tears because she had been like just passed from person to person, and you know, saying again things like, well, we can't do surgery now, maybe in the future, but you know, not offering anything.
Left hanging, aren't you? That's really tough.
Yeah, and you know, what can you do, right? How, like, taking responsibility, and what can you do to help yourself?
Yeah, because I find that often people will say to me, what do you think, what's your opinion, what should I do? And you think, like, only you know that, and you know, if you do know your body best, and we have to trust ourselves a bit, don't we?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, that was fun.
Yeah, it's nice to get moving together. I hope you guys all enjoyed that as well and were able to join in along at home. Christine's over at Jaureguiberry Scoliosis on YouTube and on Instagram and everywhere else, aren't you? Yeah, you on TikTok yet?
I have an account.
Are you? There we go.
But I haven't done very much.
I'm the same. Should we do some TikTok dances together? That's what we need to do.
Exactly.
Oh dear. All right. Well, thank you so much, and we will see you guys